All right, guys. I'm Jason, and we're lucky to have Patrick with us. Patrick has transitioned into a new role, making tools and extensions to complement the Brilliant Directories platform. Patrick, thank you for joining us as well.
It's always a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Jason.
All right. Patrick and I were talking, and we thought it would be an important topic to talk about when and why to pay for a customization. Obviously, any platform that you choose, whether it's even a WordPress site or Shopify for e-commerce sites, whatever it might be, there comes a point where there is a limitation to the platform, and you might have to pay a developer to do something for you that's outside the native features of a platform. And it's not a bad thing to do a customization, but there are appropriate times to do a customization. So Pat and I put this quick list together. Pat, do you want to maybe take over here and cover a few of these first points and why they're important to consider?
Absolutely, be happy to. The first point on there, and to me, maybe one of the more important ones, is a lot of times when people are getting started, they start thinking about the finished product. I often like to give my Facebook analogy, where when Facebook started, basically it was a website for relationship status in college kids. Of course, Mark Zuckerberg knew he wanted to monetize it someday. A lot of additional features have been added to Facebook since then, of course. But what he did was he launched quickly and got people using it, got feedback from his users, and then continued adding functionality to it. So before you start spending money in customizations, I always recommend launching your website with as basic of an idea as you can get, getting feedback from your end users, and once you're certain that you're onto something, that you're getting good feedback, finding out from them what type of customizations you should invest in.
So you're telling me Facebook didn't wait to have all the features they have today. They launched a proof of concept and have continued adding features as the site continued to grow.
That is correct. And oftentimes that's how successful online businesses start out. They add functionality. It makes for a great newsletter. Even with the default functionality, don't give everything to your members out of the gates. You want to hold some custom functionality and some default functionality for a later time so you can educate people on all these great features your website eventually is going to have.
Awesome. And then with that brings us to number two is it absolutely necessary for your business to operate with or without these customizations? And that goes into, can you afford it? And would you be able to get to a proof of concept without the customizations?
That's correct. There are instances where the entire concept is built around a small piece of custom functionality. Of course, in that case, it would make sense to invest in that if it's a part of the core concept. And of course, the other exception being if you're an existing brand, if you need to keep up with a certain appearance and it's necessary, or you have a significant budget and you're willing to invest in large customizations and you can handle a delay on the eventual launch, those would be the cases where maybe customizations would be right for you. But I'd probably put that at a 5% of cases, Jason, to be honest. It's quite rare that somebody falls into that category.
I also want to add to that, I frequently talk to people about their directory websites ideas, and we're trying to figure out if Brilliant Directories is the right solution for them. And what I've learned after talking to hundreds, if not thousands of people at this point, you're never going to find a platform that has 100% of everything you have in your mind. So search for something that has 80 or 90% of what you're looking for, the core competency of what you're looking to achieve with the website. And then the other 10% or 20% that it's lacking, focus on customizations later. So that's always something to consider also. An obvious thing is have you tried workarounds? So I'm a big advocate for finding workarounds, finding alternatives, or maybe just cutting it out altogether and saving it for a later time.
And oftentimes it's amazing where somebody will reach out to me for a customization and I inform them it's default functionality, or if you just tweak a setting, you're going to get the full functionality. Something you thought that was going to cost you a couple $1,000s is probably one website edit away from being set up on your website. So oftentimes I recommend, before you even submit a lead in the marketplace, spend 30 minutes with somebody with Brilliant Directories that knows the system inside out. Tell them what you're trying to accomplish, and you'll be surprised how often they can point you in a direction that's very close to what you're looking to get with a workaround within the system itself. It's a very flexible system.
This one's probably the least obvious because we're all inside of our own heads. The people that I do talk to, they want their website to do everything. They want to dominate their industry is where they're coming from. And they really want their website to be a Swiss Army knife that does everything and it blows with the competition out of the water. One is they probably don't have a budget to do that. Two is they're thinking too grand, especially to just get a proof of concept off the ground. And number three is whose ideas are those? Are those in individuals, or has a focus group been done? Have members of your community asked for those features? Does the industry demand those features? If it's just your idea and you have a long list of ideas and goals, you might want to consider editing that or asking for feedback before investing in customizations for something that your members may not even want or the industry may not even need your website to do.
Absolutely. Get that initial proof of concept up and running. I would talk to at least 10 potential members. If they're reluctant, you can always say, hey, I'll give you a year's free membership. I just would love your feedback. Here's how it is today. What functionality would be important to you? Let them tell you what their wish list items were. And you may be surprised that your big idea is nowhere on their needs list.
Exactly. It's not that it's a bad idea. It's just better to find out if it's an in-demand idea before going down the black hole of customizations. And that's actually another thing is when you work on customizations with a developer, try to create sections and phases for your customization to not only add sanity for your developer, but to keep you on track as things are getting completed for you in your development project. And then lastly, the most important thing is if you're going to spend money on something, you want to make sure you get a return on your investment. And generally for websites, it can be different things, but is it going to help you generate more revenue? Is it going to help you bring more traffic to your site, or some other type of key performance indicator that's going to add value to your brand and your organization? So when you have your list of customizations, just ask yourself, what really is the benefit of this customization? One thing at Brilliant Directories, we are big advocates of trying to save you guys as much money as possible with your website projects, because all this stuff can get very expensive very quickly. So our recommendation is try to use the resources and tools that are readily available to you already. And only when you reach roadblocks and only when you really feel the squeeze and the hurt, then seek out additional help for hire. So that's usually the appropriate time. All right. So have a great day, guys. Thank you so much.